Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Concordia University's fourth space. Thank you for joining us for today's event, GEMinAI Program Storytelling Wrap-Up. And to help situate you, we are streaming to YouTube. We are live from fourth space, and we are located on unceded Indigenous lands in Tiohtià:ke, Montreal. Here at Fourth Space, we work with our university community to help mobilize knowledge. We co-create daily activities that examine research questions and projects and things in development across the university. We're running this event as a live stream Zoom meeting. Comments and questions are welcomed in the chat if you're joining us there. Those of you in the space might notice that there are microphones all over the place, and that's so you can pass them around so that we can hear you online and on Zoom. So that's what that is. So after that, it's my pleasure to pass the microphone to the program coordinator for Create SE for AI, Laurie Akiyama. Laurie, welcome.
Thank you very much, Douglas. Thank you for that nice introduction, and welcome everybody to the wrap-up and storytelling event for the GEMinAI program. We're so pleased that you could join us today. It's a little bit of a smaller group than we had hoped, but that's okay. Lindsay and I are very excited to have all of you back as a group, and we want today to really be a celebration of the official end of your mentoring journey in the GEMinAI program. But we also see it as the beginning of new pathways and new connections that you have all created together over the past 6 months. And we chose a storytelling format for today's event because we're really looking forward to hearing about all of your experiences and how your mentoring sessions evolved. So with that, we have a bit of an agenda for the next couple of hours or so. Can we click through to the agenda slide, please? Who has the clicker? There it is. Okay. So I'm going to give a very brief opening. And then Lindsay and I are going to turn things over to two very special guests who have joined us today. We have Riya Dutta, who is a well-known champion for engineering and STEM here at Concordia University. And we have our moderator for today, Maxine Yanuchili. Maxine is a PhD candidate in psychology. Her research focuses on gender stereotypes and initiatives at creating a more inclusive society. And Maxine also shadowed several of the GEMinAI mentoring sessions over the past 6 months. So she's going to help us guide through a bit of a storytelling discussion over some specific themes. Whoa, things just got more high tech. So just to kind of review for those of you who may have forgotten what our goals were for this program, we really started the program with 3 main goals in mind. We wanted to improve gender equality among AI professionals, knowing that there definitely is not equality currently in the AI industry. And to that end, we really wanted to support women and gender diverse individuals who wish to engage with AI in their future profession. And also to give students an opportunity to enhance their professional skills and kind of be guided and supported along their journey from academia to the professional workplace. And we're hoping that we can add to this list of outcomes after today's session, but for this time, we can report that, sorry, can you go back? We have 13 student mentees that we matched to 13 industry professionals in data science and AI. And we also had 1 internship that was secured out of this experience, and we know that many great connections and friendships were made through the program. So we're very happy with those outcomes to start. And if you'll recall, we started this whole journey 6 months ago, back in October, when we met everybody for the launch of the program. And after we matched 13 mentees to 13 mentors, we kind of sent everybody off on your own to have between 4 and 6 mentoring sessions. And then we reached out around February just to check in with everyone and see how things were going. We prepared a little questionnaire that we asked you to fill out just to gather some feedback from you. And we got some very interesting comments about how the sessions were going and some struggles maybe that some groups were having. So to that end, we prepared a mentoring guide, and you'll find copies of the mentoring guide scattered around. I think I put a few copies on those tables back there. So please feel free to have a look. And we're hoping to get some more feedback from all of you tonight as to what worked and what didn't work in the program. And here we are already in May at the wrap-up party storytelling event. So with that, we want to hear your stories. Lindsay, did you want to speak to this slide maybe?
Sure, I think that we just want to make it clear that it's very important to us how all of you experienced the program, what worked for you, what you got out of it, how we can, this was our first time doing something like this, although Lori's done a little bit with mentorship programs. I think that we are hoping to learn from you because you're the experts of your own experiences and you know kind of what worked and what didn't. So for the next iteration of this program, we really want to make it even better. So thanks so much for coming and being open to sharing and sharing your stories. And with that, I will turn it over to Maxine, who will be kind of facilitating and will go over the different themes that we'll be thinking through. But of course, if something comes up that's not what we thought beforehand, please go with that. Maxine is a PhD candidate and public scholar in the psychology department whose research focuses on the development of gender stereotypes and how they influence us. So really perfect person to facilitate this. So thanks so much, Maxine.
Hi everyone, and thanks for having me as a moderator today. I have the mic. My name is Maxine, my pronouns are she, her. I am a PhD candidate here at Concordia, and I was really excited when I first heard about this GEMinAI project, and I've reached out to Lori and Lindsay to express that excitement, and part of the reason, what they've already alluded to, is just the fact that AI is a rapidly evolving field, and it's shaping the future of technology and society. And really the diversity of voices in it and the perspectives within it is crucial in really driving innovation and ensuring that the spaces in AI and AI technologies really serve everyone equitably. I've already had the pleasure of sitting in and getting to hear some of your experiences so far, the ones who welcomed me into some of your mentorship programs. I'm grateful for that, but I'm really looking forward to hear from all of you, your experiences throughout the program, and really the insights that you have, and maybe you'll also learn even more from each other today. Before we get into the storytelling portion though, I'm very happy to be introducing our guest speaker today, someone I've had the pleasure of getting to know and whose passion and aspirations I truly admire, Riya Dutta. Riya's completed her master's in 2023 in software engineering at Concordia's GEMinAI School. Her graduate research looked at diversity awareness in software engineering research participants. She presented her work at the International Conference of Software Engineering in Melbourne, Australia, and is the recipient of numerous accolades and awards, including the 3-Minute Thesis Regional and National Award, and the GEMinAI School EDI Award, and the Concordia Alumni Jedi. Is that how you say it? Jedi? Like Star Wars?
Just as an EDI?
Yeah, like Jedi Award. Rita's currently an EDI and research officer at Concordia. Welcome, Riya.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Maxine. Thank you all for having me. It is really an honor to be invited here to share my experience with you, what I've learned, and what I have found most useful in my mentorship journey. In the last 8 years, I have been part of many mentoring relationships at different stages of my life. This has been in different environments, in university, in internships, and now at work, with various different mentors and mentees. I like to call my mentors my work moms and my work dads, like my work parents. Over the years, I have made a few observations. I find there are two main kinds of mentorship relationships: formal mentorships and informal mentorships. Formal mentorships are like the ones that are part of the amazing GEMinAI program. Please, can we have a round of applause for the organizers of the GEMinAI program? These formal mentorships are usually well-defined. You are paired up with someone who has a matching profile as you or is on a career path that you want to get on. It is great, especially at the beginning of your mentorship journey, since it provides comfort in knowing that, okay, for the next 2 semesters, I have this person that I can reach out to, this amazing person. We're definitely going to be having some coffee dates. They will be there to answer any of my questions, provide guidance, provide advice. They will also provide work contacts and all these other great things. This is a very practical approach to mentorship. On the other hand, an informal mentorship relationship is where you find people in your life around you that you feel you can connect with, that you believe you can learn from, and these people also seem willing to share their knowledge with you or guide you. These relationships can be short-lived, and sometimes they can come into your life when you least expect, but most need them. You just need to seek them out. You can find your mentor in your research supervisor if your research topic is your true passion and you want to make that your career. I know that has been the case for me. You can find these relationships in very influential people, like the former CEOs and namesakes of engineering schools. I think you know who I'm talking about. For me, that's Gina Cody. Even though she is not in the exact engineering field or the field of work I am in, she has a wealth of knowledge and experience about being in the workforce in a completely different context and a completely different time, with a lot of challenges that we unfortunately still face today. This is extremely valuable. Mentors can also be found in work colleagues who help you navigate through the day-to-day life of your work. This, I find, is a more social approach to mentorship, where I try to get advice and opinions and listen to the experiences shared by people around me. I have found both formal and informal mentorships and the practical and social approaches very valuable to my life and my career. This is how I learn. I always have. It is hard to find mentors sometimes that can provide you with definite steps you need to follow to achieve your goals. It is sometimes even harder to know what your goals are. This is where I find it is most helpful to understand people's experiences and try to reflect on why they made these decisions that they did in a professional context. Is it the circumstance? Is it the period of time? Is it the environment? And then think about, does this decision make sense for me? What can I learn from this? How can I use this knowledge to achieve my goals and make my work life better? So really, the most helpful thing about the mentorship process is to observe, listen, reflect, seek out mentors or even mentees, always have an open mind, and try to learn and do what's best for you. I hope you can all find your own research moms and work dads. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Riya. That's a great tone to get us into the conversation. As was mentioned, we're going to outline the discussion into the following themes of professional development, relationship building, representation, favorite moments, and we're going to end on areas of improvement. So I'm really going to encourage you all to share as much or as little as you feel comfortable with, in the hopes that the discussion is going to do just that, enrich our understanding of the impact of such programs like GEMinAI and highlight ways that can continue supporting gender equality in related fields. So let's go ahead and begin by exploring how this program has influenced professional development. So in other words, related to your skills, knowledge, and career aspirations. I'm going to start us off with a really broad question, and feel free to pick up a mic that's around and join in on the conversation. So maybe a broad way to get us started is there any piece of knowledge or professional skill that you'd like to share that you've gained throughout this mentorship program?
We also have a slide for each of these themes with a quote that we took from the feedback form that we sent out, but we're having some technical issues clicking through to it. Oh, there we are.
I'm hiding it.
So yeah, so these are actual quotes from you, our GEMinAI program mentors and mentees around professional development that we thought were worth sharing.
Yeah, so who would like to get us started on a piece of knowledge that you gained through the experiments related to your professional development? And this can be either way as well. So it could be from the mentor perspective or the mentee perspective equally.
We have a shy bunch.
Does it work?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can share, like, I'm not sure if it's professional experience, but like what we experienced, I was a mentor, and I can't say really I was a mentor because I learned a lot from Lynn when we were working together. It was a great experience for me. It was, I think, my first mentorship experience. And what I learned is that even though, I was working in industry for like 7-8 years now, and I mean, after my PhD, I was working also at university. I hadn't had this experience before that I share, the issues that we have as women in in AI. Usually most of my colleagues are men. Also, if there are women, I didn't experience it like the way it went with Lynn. She's at around the same age with me. She's like a woman immigrant. The challenges that we had to get to this point. So we shared a lot of common experiences, and it was really interesting for me also to see that we all have around similar journey to get. Women in tech usually have some challenges to overcome. So for me, it was really interesting to see, also I felt that, okay, somebody is there understanding what I went through. And it's great that I can share my experience with her, to tell her that you are not alone. It was, these challenges were also for me. So, and I learned a lot from her also, from the scientific point of view, because the field that she's working on, it's I haven't in my I'm a machine learning researcher, so I'm working on images and videos like processing, and I haven't ever worked on like ethics or gender bias in like, or all types of biases in AI and in general. So it was I talking to her, and like she shared her ideas with me. I had to also go through, reading like articles about it to be able to share my opinion with her. So I learned also a lot. So it's both scientifically and also, mentally, it was a great journey for me too. Sorry, I talked a lot, I think, but I wanted to share it with you.
No, thanks so much for sharing
Thank you for
that.
listening.
Thanks so much for sharing that. And like, it really sounds like part of your mentees' work influence, like you saw things in your own work that you hadn't considered before. And I'm wondering if like seeing those opportunities or those paths were parallel. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but like, to mentees, did you get the same experience?
Yes. I think we talked to Maxine before, and so I also want to share with others women here too. And actually, I think I'm a very fortunate to meet Perry, because just as Perry showed that, I think everyone is feel. Actually, she mentioned that she is the first mentorship with me, but actually she's very have a lot of patience on this. And every time, actually, we meet regularly, like at this program. And I also joined this program at the very beginning of my research period. So actually, I also get a lot of professional development during this period. At the very beginning, like Perry mentioned that, because I'm not very familiar with the research area, so I have some challenge at that very beginning, like to find my interest field. I also, today also my supervisor here also. Yeah, actually supervisor is also my another mentor, but it's a little bit different. So, but I'm very fortunate to have two women mentor here. And at this, especially for this journey, I think I got a lot from Perry, is because first one I want to mention is that she's patient for this to be a mentor for me. The second is, I think she's very well-planned person. Like for each meeting, she let me know when she's available, and she also prefer to meet in person. I think that is very good choice to when you want to build a very solid mentorship, because you can, when you chat together and when you have a coffee, sit at a very cozy coffee shop. Yeah, it's very helpful to share a lot of relationship or a lot of experience in your life and to make you close. Yeah, like that. And it's not just the well planning is not just for the place we choose. It's also she also gave me some guide, like what's the meeting you want to talk about. Like for this meeting, maybe we'll talk about you have early career plan, or if you have early challenge, you want to talk with me in your research topic or something like that. So before that meeting, I will think about it. In this 1 hour's meeting, what should I ask? And anything, so it made me refresh before meeting, and then we can have achieve the goals after the meeting, like that. So I think it's also very helpful. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to speak right now, and maybe we can talk about others field later.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, so for me, my mentor couldn't come today, I believe, but we didn't meet as many times, like maybe only one or like around 2 to 3 times, but every time that we met, it was really helpful. I'm particularly interested to kind of maybe continue my education in the future. And she really helped me kind of, so I'm interested in conferences and also in how to like find targeted venues, how to maybe reach out to future supervisors. So she really gave me tips on, where to look, what kind of steps I should take for those kind of things, and even sending me examples of papers or venues. So that was really helpful for me. And she was really open to discussing about those things. And even, so I'm really grateful for that. Unfortunately, both of us were really busy. I'm at the end stage of my research, so I didn't really have much to talk about in terms of future areas of research in my current master's thesis. And she also has like a child and a full-time job at Google, so she was really busy. So we couldn't really coordinate to discuss further, for this mentorship, but the little amount of time that we did meet, she was really helpful. And I also got connected with her from someone else that I had met during the CanAI conference last year, and that's how we connected, because the person I had met at the AI conference, she's based in New York, or they're based in New York, and they were able to connect me to this specific mentor because they were someone who's local. So this kind of double step mentoring is also, I think, quite helpful. Finding someone who's closer nearby, who's able to guide you, is also, I think, another interesting aspect of mentorship, where maybe it's not just a one-on-one relationship, but it can connect you to others as well in the field. So that's kind of my short experience with the mentorship. And I think like if I could, continue with this mentorship program in the future, if there's a second iteration, I'd be open to that idea, because 6 months is quite short, especially with our busy lives. I think it flies by really quickly. So I think mentorship program should be something that's long-term and develops long-term growth. I think that's something that I wanted to share.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And I'm hearing that there's a lot of like practical steps and resources that were shared, but also hearing that even in the structure, the format of the meetings, and there's skills that came about that you're able to like take on for yourself and implement. Those are really, really useful things moving forward in your path. Anybody else want to share on the professional development? Because I will pick up. Oh.
Maxine, I just wanted to quickly add something to that, just based on what Sharon said about 6 months being short. And of course, we know that 6 months is a very short time. But I think our intention with this program is to match you to a mentor who will continue to be there for you as a valuable contact for the rest of, hopefully, the rest of your career. And I know as someone who's toward the later stages of my career that I've had mentors throughout the years who influenced me and helped me along my path, and I can still reach out to them via LinkedIn or other means, and I know they're always going to be there for me. So that was really our hope through this program, is that you're going to establish these really positive connections that will continue to benefit you for many years to come.
Yeah, and I want to respond to that. Like, I'm really busy at the moment, so I couldn't reach out to my mentor, but definitely at the next stage of my life, which is probably continuing my education, I want to reach out to her again and then rediscuss and redefine my goals and kind of seek a new pathway for myself. So I definitely think that she would be a great contact, and I'm really grateful for this program for allowing at least this, setting up this kind of journey for me. I think that's the most important part of the mentorship process, giving this kind of starting line and starting starting position for me to continue this kind of fostering these kind of relationships.
And a lot is built from here, because I'm hearing connections a lot and relationship, which I think is brings us to like the next theme of relationship building. And something I think would be nice to hear is what's really like you've been all alluding to it a bit, but what's the most valuable aspect of that mentor-mentee relationship that came about for you in this 6 months, or even in the short amount of time that you met, or extensive amount of time? What was of true value for you that you're going to take on, that you're going to take with you and past this relationship?
I have a mic if anyone would like to speak. Again, we have a couple of quotes that came out just related to relationship building that I thought were interesting to share. Jasper, did you want to say something? Thank you.
Do I have to turn it on or it's on? All right, perfect. So for myself, it was interesting because coming into this new relationship, I was reflecting on when I was a student at Concordia. And back then, I think a lot of times we took tech as tech and we didn't really look at the relationship side of it. And right now, I find with all these changes happening and everything, we're going back to the soft skills and relationships right at the top with like communication. And even though it was only 6 months, there was such a connection with my mentee, because when she came into this mentorship, she was vulnerable, right? She had questions that she wanted to ask, and it was to create that environment, to have somebody be that vulnerable, ask those questions, and to be able to help someone. Because when I was here, I'm an alum of Concordia, something like this wasn't offered. So I remember on LinkedIn in September when the post went up, and I was like, I wish there was a program like this when I was in school. And that's where I think the relationship building, like definitely with my mentee, she knows that anytime she needs anything, I'm there, right? She could send me an email, she could call me, whatever she needs. And within the 6 months, we were just able to connect so at a different level. And it was a two-way. Like everything that she brought to the table, I wasn't expecting it, but like you had said, in certain portions, the mentor turned into the mentee, and so I learned so much from her. And from the relationship building side, I think it's going to be something I'm going to hold dear, because it's the first program, first mentee relationship. So it was really cool in that aspect.
That's great to hear. And I hear support underlying a lot of what you're saying. And I remember sitting in on some of your conversation, and support came a lot through it. Is that something that resonates with you?
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
So this is where I would say the support aspect is, it wasn't something that was there for me. Mm-hmm. So it was so important for me to be able to provide that for my mentee. And even if that support meant connecting her to other individuals in my network that had an experience that I knew would be more beneficial to her than what I had, right? So the support it just didn't end with me, it was with my network. So I made sure, like with whatever concerns she had, and that I could provide her that support through other women within technology that would be able to better provide it than I would.
That's awesome. Anyone else?
I have like just an emerging thought. I can maybe talk about relationship building a little bit, because both of my supervisors in my graduate school were women as well. And I found that really valuable in terms of the kind of social or other emotional connections you can form. But some of this is making me think of Sarah Ahmed's work and how she describes the personal as being political. So not the personal is political, but she phrases it as the personal is structural. So one of these key moments that I remember in early interactions with my supervisor was when I was a single parent at the time, and I was young in school, and she was describing the kind of structures of the university and said something like, if this is difficult for you, it's not it makes sense because these, you know, these structures weren't built for you essentially, or they're not, the idea was they were not set in place for your success. They were, so if you're struggling, it's not because you're doing something wrong, essentially. It's because that's the environment that you're in. And no one had really said anything to me like that before. And I think especially in academia, you really feel like you're an imposter. And if it's not working for you, then there's something wrong with you because you can see that it's working for other people. So I think those moments when you really feel like something is said that's so powerful that allows you to reframe your experience, and it also feels like you're really being acknowledged. It's hard not to form a really meaningful relationship in that context because all of a sudden you feel seen and you feel like your experience makes sense in a way that it didn't before. And that, you know, it's not your fault, or you're not alone, or you're not, the failure is not in you, but in the structures that you're trying to succeed within. So I almost feel like this is a kind of an exercise of feminist consciousness raising a little bit. Like we're sharing our experiences and we're learning what is, we're learning that the personal is kind of structural. So thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, from the mentee perspective, does that relate to how you've experienced part of the relationship? Would you like to share? I see some nods. I don't want to pressure. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if we do want to build on that, and especially building on what Lindsay just mentioned, like how coming into this, did you come into this program with this idea of representation driving the reason for like applying on either sides? And if so, how important is the concept of representation for you in fields related to AI, in the fields that you're in, for example? And when I say representation, like that can mean many things, like visibility, role models, community support. And what did that mean for you, and how did you approach the program from this lens? Okay.
I think I can speak a little bit to that. It doesn't really have to do with this specific mentorship program, but I was like a mentor for another student for another program. We got matched up because she had seen my profile. She wanted a mentor to kind of, she's right now studying sociology and also I think statistics. So she really wanted to find someone who's also studying in kind of a relevant field. So for me, I'm also doing like software engineering, but also like AI ethics and social aspects of AI. So she saw my profile and she really wanted to ask questions about her future career because she's just starting her bachelor's, but she's wondering what kind of career path she can take, if continuing studies past bachelor's, like for example, doing a master's is the right thing for her. So she really wanted to find see other perspectives of potentially things that she's interested in that's not just industry focused, which is a lot of what mentorships have been focused around, is around industry professionals and industry mentorship, how to get into the workforce. But for her, she was really interested to know what there is, what representations there are in academia as well, if those are careers that she wants to consider in. So for me, we kind of matched up and I got to kind of explain kind of what academia is like, because I think from someone who's in bachelor's, there's no kind of notion about what research is. You just learn what the teacher teaches you, and then hopefully that will develop skills that are necessary for a job. But there's no really aspect, what is research? What is the research process? That doesn't really get explored when you're a bachelor student. And what qualifies as research? Because I think that's kind of an intimidating topic. Like research, is it something like you have to change the world? Like, are you trying to find something new to discover and show off? But really it's just, I got to really like share with her that it's really just finding something you're passionate about and coming up with questions that you want answered, and then trying to find something new to bring to the topic, to the discussion, and hopefully generate future work and inspire other researchers to consider things that you've learned in your journey, and maybe opening new areas to find more knowledge about. And I think she really that kind of spoke to her during our discussions. And then to kind of build up on those kind of questions that she had, we invited her every week to our kind of lab meetings. So she got to see how the students in our lab, how we engage with our research, how we talk about our research, and then kind of what kind of dynamic happens during these kind of lab meetings where we're talking about our research in progress, we're getting feedback from our peers, and then really just expanding kind of discussion to be outside of just textbook knowledge and really into finding new areas to talk about. And I think that was a kind of this representation aspect is, trying to find other people who you might aspire to be, and considering other options in your career. So yeah, that kind of was my kind of anecdote for that.
Well, thanks for the anecdote. And I heard a lot of I think part of it is inclusion of into a community. And I'm wondering if there's certain aspects of the GEMinAI program that you really found fostered that sense of inclusion that you'd like to highlight. Even if it's a moment.
Hi. Yeah, so I like to talk about the representation aspect. I think there's a field that has so many few women, and it's so inspiring to be in a place like this today where you have so many different professionals in different stages and able to share with us the experience and all the struggles that they have because of the journey that we know it's more difficult for us, and that's very helpful for anyone who is starting or restarting their career and their journey. When I started working as a developer, I remember that in the first two companies, I was the only woman there in the technical area, and that's very difficult. You feel like you cannot ask questions because they will think that you are a failure, you don't know enough, and that's very challenging. And I think when you have someone that you see yourself in this person and went through the same process and can help, you can say that this is normal, it's normal to have questions, it's normal to not know everything. This is very helpful for you to develop and for you to feel safe in this environment. So that's something that I always try to do with other women that are starting, and I think that's something that we should always try to do. And this program and this experience is definitely aligned with that, and this is very, very important for women in AI or in technology area in general.
I'll keep us here just a bit because you said a sentence that, at least in the mentorships that I shadowed in, every single one I wrote down, I was the only woman in the room. And even at the very beginning, I started mentioning challenges, and so I kind of want to just maybe press a bit more on these challenges. What do these challenges still look like? What do they feel like for you? What are these challenges that you face in these areas that you find these kind of programs so, and I'm looking to that you find these kind of programs so helpful to kind of build that sense of belonging. We want to and again, feel comfortable, share as much as little, but I think it's important to actually express these challenges.
Yeah, of course, I can share a little bit, but yeah, I mean, like I said, there's
I think there's the challenge of believing yourself first. And like I said, when I was starting, I felt like I was a little bit behind everyone because even asking questions as a woman, you feel more vulnerable. You feel like you're being judged, so it's difficult. And when I started to want to pursue a more leadership position, and I was also only the only human there, so I didn't have a reference and I didn't have anyone to help me through this process. And I think when you are a woman in the area, you hear a lot of stuff, people talking bad stuff for you. For example, I had to walk in an architecture room with 50 men, and I was the only woman, and it's very difficult. You face many difficult situations, and I think that the more women we have there, the more we feel safe in this environment, and the more we can help each other, so this process doesn't happen anymore. But I think that there are many struggles. I don't know if anyone else wants to share, but
I think for me, when it comes to representation and inclusivity, just the fact that there's this program and I'm surrounded by so many different people in different stages of their life, but similar paths, is already this kind of confidence boost. So even if just the existence of the program kind of gives this kind of self-assurance that, you know, I'm on the right path and I'm not the only one. And I think that's the most important thing, because with a lot of women, I believe we face a lot of imposter syndrome and also this lack of confidence that, you know, maybe we're the only one who's struggling. And, you know, it's the fact, yes, it's the fact that I'm a woman, but who can help me? Like, if I'm the only one facing the situation in my environment. So I think just having this program is already just one step ahead of this kind of confidence that you need. Like, there is this reassurance that you're seen and that, you know, there's someone for you. So I think just the representation is the crucial aspect of building self-confidence.
Anybody else? Then maybe on this positive note, I'll bring us to favorite moments. Favorite moments. It could be light, it could be deep, it could be whatever comes to your head. But did you have a favorite moment? Is there a standout story that you wanna, an aha moment of the mentorship program that is gonna probably stay with you for a while that you'd like to share? And like, feel free, whatever comes to mind. The one we have here is, she is so passionate about AI and machine learning. We talked about potential project in our first meeting, and in our second meeting, she said that she has already started, and we discussed her brilliant idea. Was there a moment like that that stood out for you?
I think the most notable moment for me was actually the start of the mentorship, where we had to all get together with the kind of the opening party of the event. So I got to, unfortunately, a lot of the participants and mentors couldn't make it today, but getting to know that there were so many who were interested in the program got me pretty excited for the whole mentorship experience. Like, kind of this really great, it was a really great start, I think. Like, there was, you know, thinking back, there was like a lot of food, and there were some, you know, like games that we played, and yeah, and then, you know, also talking with other participants and then hearing what they wanted to get out of the program was exciting. And for me, that was the memorable part, was having it start off on a great foot. I think that really encouraged me to continue with the mentorship program because it started well. And it was thanks to like the great planning of Lindsay and Lori, and of course like the participation of everyone else and their interest really made me excited and happy to come back again and share my experiences.
Actually, I'm not sure if it's us. I don't remember if we wrote it. I wrote it. She wrote it. I don't remember. But I shared a bit. I think project and Lane's project and her supervisor is also here. So it's really interesting. I'm not sure how much I can share because probably she's going to make it to a paper, hopefully. But yeah, it's about the bias. Can I talk about it? Not sure how much, but it's about the bias that, ChatGPT, they are generating some codes. It's specifically in the codes that, ChatGPT and in general area, it's about the biases that exist already. And what ChatGPT does is, all of these kind of large language models, they already have a lot of, data. And obviously these data are, biased in some cases. And we have a term in machine learning that we use garbage in, garbage out. So if you are feeding it with the data that is biased, of course, what you get as an output is biased too. So it was really interesting to see this topic. And also there weren't many research on this particular area. So I really hope we shared ideas. I'm sure Lynn with her supervisors, they had a lot of scientific discussions on that. So hopefully she can make it to a. I can see the potential in the project that it can go to a good journal or a conference. So that was really interesting to see, and it was a lot for me also to learn. I think it's a very trendy topic nowadays, like bias in the data. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Perry. For actually the project that you mentioned that we submit a short paper in the FSC this year, and they accept it. And it's just it's a short paper and for the student competition. And also we are try our best to make it a non-paper and hope it can to submit of the conference later. Yeah, and also I'm very like to thank you to give the insight to me at the very beginning of this project. Yeah, thanks. I think that's the favorite moments we want to share right here. Thanks.
All right. Then maybe with the intention of evolving and keep improving future iterations of programs like this one, I think constructive feedback is a super valuable thing to consider at all times. So to get at the last theme of areas of improvement, that would be my question. So straightforward, what are some aspects of the program structure that you think could be improved?
I kind of had a suggestion that just came up in my mind just now. I think it'd be really cool if we could have kind of like a speed dating between mentors and mentees. Not just the one-on-one being matched up to one mentor, but it'd be nice to have like sessions in between or at the beginning where you can kind of do speed mentoring. So kind of, setting up booths and people going from one mentor to another, chatting, and not just getting to know other mentors, because it seems like some other mentees had some really interesting mentors, like for example, Puri here. So I would have loved to also be able to talk to her or something along those lines, kind of just getting to know each other, not just you and your mentor, but other participants and other mentors, and connecting in those type of ways as well. I think that'd be interesting to have as an event.
And I'm thinking, like, so to what someone said earlier, this is a good, just its existence is, just the existence of the program felt like a valuable thing. And if we were to push that a bit further in terms of like feedback or suggestions, how do we take the next, like, how do we move the value that you find in the program from the program into, like, how do we keep progressing that benefit from these kinds of programs? Because ultimately, I think creating these programs is really to benefit the people who participate in them. And I'm assuming that in the future iterations, tailoring them to the needs and to the things that you particularly liked or would benefit the next cohort of participants. So really anything that you think could be valuable. Yeah, go ahead.
I can go. So for this, I know that there was a bit of jealousy from the males. For my mentee told me where she was like, when she was speaking to her friends, and they were like, hey, we want something like this too, right? And so we understand the value of this and why it's needed. Like in tech, there's less than 30% of individuals are females, so there's definitely a need for it. But if you were looking to grow it, there's other students that were also saying, hey, I would really benefit from this. I would love to have a mentor. So maybe there's a way to, create another edition and include for males and see what their needs are and kind of grow in that aspect.
Right. Yes, I heard the same thing from some of our men students in the lab. They were like, how come I can't join GEMinAI? And why don't you create a program called mentees as the second iteration? So yeah, ideally, that's good feedback. It would be nice if we could someday expand the program to also include men. For the time being, we really want to focus on supporting women. Yes.
Yeah, maybe a thought on that, like a thought to like continue building on like this idea of like the meeting the need of the program is at the forefront and priority, but including voices in the conversation so that your voices are heard beyond the structure, the confines of a program like this. I didn't participate in the program, so I don't have your lived experience through it. I feel you wanting to share. Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
But in conversations like this, hearing your needs, hearing your experiences, having other ears here to take part of a conversation might be a little way to include maybe different individuals that don't have the same needs as the people who are in the programs, but that can really be part of change, of bringing the kind of movement forward
I just want to add that this, like the events definitely weren't restricted at all. So
Yeah.
we did invite many people who weren't participants in the program. We invited men who worked with us, men who worked with you. So I think my initial response is like when we've achieved, we just spent so much time talking about how valuable this is to have the representation. So when we've achieved a level of representation or equality, then maybe we can talk about opening this group up. And certainly to find ways to be heard outside of this room and to have a more diverse listening audience is something that we've welcomed and invited, and it hasn't happened, which, not to make too strong a claim, but I think people attend events that they find kind of valuable and important and want to hear voices that they esteem, and the fact that, that who's in the room kind of reflects who thinks something like this is important. It's also Friday. It's also 4 p.m. There are other courses at play, but I just think my default is to not. It's it's serving a very clear need right here, right now.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. I might have gotten a little too passionate when I thought it, but I have a strong reaction.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I really like going back to what she was talking about, men. Yeah, men in tech, there are a lot, and usually, they're doing okay. But I think, for me at least, when I'm hearing women in tech, women in science, for me, it's like, okay, there is still, like, we have a long way getting there, this equality. But I think what's important is, I think the day that we don't have these kind of, terms, that day we can say, okay, there is equality, women and men in tech. So I think, actually, following what she was saying, I think, because sometimes I'm thinking about it, what we can do, like, to bring men also in this kind of, it's something, to think about, maybe not for this program, or maybe, yes, workshops in this program, that what we can do in terms of culture, or in terms of awareness, to men, that they should be aware of what they're saying, or how they're behaving towards women, that, we don't, because I had these feelings, of course, we don't feel this. It's like, I think it's the culture that needs to be built, needs to be worked on. So that's, I found really interesting when she talked about it. That's what I wanted to share.
Yeah.
I hope we can achieve a culture where there are men in a room wondering how they can hear more women.
Yeah. And I think that's speaks to what everyone's kind of seems to be tapping into, like getting everyone involved in the conversation while upholding programs like this that meet the needs that are still underseen, undervalued, underappreciated, to get them to the level, but in parallel to having people in the conversation, having people listening to the conversation, so that the onus of responsibility expands. Yeah, absolutely, thanks. I think also intersectionally, like if we think intersectionally as a big consideration, so I'm hearing a lot women, men, but it's underrepresentation is a problem for like a lot of gender diverse folks. It's a problem for a lot of people who are dealing with different social factors, be it socioeconomic status, race, mobility. So these are probably factors to consider, like when we're talking about men and we're talking about Black men. We're talking like, is that an avenue to push forward that meets a need similar to the need that that such programs are trying to serve. These are great considerations. Any other thoughts, feedback for the program? No? Well, I'm going to hand it back then for closing remarks. Thanks for participating. Thanks for sharing. Is anybody, before I do close, does anybody have any last things you want to share in general about your experience? Anything? Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that organized the program. The first time is always the hardest time, and I think it was such a success. And I learned so much in it. And one of my aha moments was from the first time meeting my mentee to the last time we met, the confidence level was what we spoke about initially in the first meeting. She wasn't even considering by the end, right? It was something that was already, I understand this. And that's where programs like this allow someone to come into a safe space and ask those questions. And Lindsay, what you said about the structure not being made for us, that was said so beautifully, and it's something we don't consider, right? Because we're so used to just moving in what's created that we never question, is this created for me? So that's where I find programs like this, I'm learning, my mentee learned, everyone's learning. So congrats on I thought a very successful first GEMinAI. Many more to come, I hope.
I think we just want to say thank you. We're so grateful that you're all here. For everyone who participated as a mentor, mentee, or is just coming to support. Thank you to Riya. Thank you so much for facilitating to Maxine. Enjoy some food, please. It's on the table. Get some snacks. Thank you to Fourth Space, as always, for hosting. Oh yeah, it'd be great to get a photo.
Okay, thanks for everyone. Thanks for coming into Fourth Space today, and thanks for joining us for this conversation. Just for letting everyone know online, joining us via Zoom or watching on YouTube, we'll be closing up the live stream now. But reminder, this conversation remains available on our YouTube channel if you'd like to revisit it there. Most importantly, the next thing you must do is have a fantastic weekend. Thank you, everyone.